Hello and welcome to Art History Plus podcast. With us is Anokhi Shah. She is an extended reality artist, designer, and the founder of IOVR. We'll talk about that in a little bit. This conversation, by the way, is brought to you by La Nanta Absinthe, Liquid of the Legends. And I am extremely happy to have Anokhi on this show because she speaks of subjects that I know that much about, and in comparison, she knows that much, or maybe more. It's like 30 ml versus a Patiala large, maybe. I'm imagining. And so we're exploring this conversation. Just before we started, I said, should I say AR or VR? And she said, no, say
extended reality.
Extended reality. And I was like, that's an amazing subject that I know nothing about. I know a little bit about, but let's see what she has to say about it. So Anokhi, can you explain to me what is extended reality?
Extended reality is basically using digital tools or technologies to kind of extend your physical reality. So, for example, augmented reality, you use a device where you kind of point it towards a physical reality using, for example, your camera. And with the additional digital layer, you can add more onto the space. So it becomes an extension of your physical reality.
Sure.
Similarly, with virtual reality, you can kind of create a whole different environment or a world where you can put the headset on and kind of immerse yourself in the world and have an immersive experience, which again is a different kind of a experience, another kind of reality, which is why it comes under the umbrella of extended reality.
You went to art school?
I have my base in architecture, and then I went for a master's, which was called a Masters of Arts in Architecture.
A Masters of Arts in Architecture.
I did that from Germany.
Sounds like that. Because Pune University is not offering any course like this.
So basically, at the Städelschule, which is an art school in Frankfurt, Germany, and they have an architecture department, which allows you to do like a Masters of Arts in Architecture. So that's where I kind of learned a little bit about art. But obviously my route is not the authentic way of going to an art school.
What is the authentic way? You have issues with people from art school? Because
no, I don't have issues with people from art school. It's just if you talk to someone who's an architect and you talk to someone who's an engineer, construction engineer, there's obviously maybe there are some topics which are overlapping, but they've approached it in a different way. So I feel the similar happens with me and another artist. They know a lot more artists, I would say, than I do, and a lot more mediums, whereas I am interested and restricted to the kind of things I am excited about,
which is
virtual space, which is where the architecture comes in place. And also I wanted to tell you that VR and AR, which is virtual reality and augmented reality, is under the umbrella of extended reality.
I have a question.
Yes.
For question one,
go for it.
Is AR and VR, do you consider these things as real? You know what is away from keyboard and IRL in real life? Is AR and VR a facet of reality? How would you define reality?
I mean, I would ask you that. How would you define reality? What are your parameters that...
It needs to have an temporal element, time. It needs to have physical space, and it needs to have consciousness.
Yeah, then I would say it's real. So if we go by your definition...
Is physical space there in the augmented... I mean...
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
So I'm going to talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about that a little bit, like the aspect of space in these realities. So basically, extended realities is something which means that it kind of extends your physical reality. And augmented reality and virtual reality are two different ways you can approach that. Augmented reality uses a screen-based device, which could be your phone, your iPad, maybe like a glass, something like that, which what it does is adds a layer to the physical layer that you see. Right?
Yeah.
Which is why the project here is an augmented reality. this additional of this layer that you add, it could be anything that you could control, and it could have all those physics elements that reality has, like depth, shadow, light, all of those things.
It must be a designer's playground.
Yeah, of course, it's beautiful because you can take something that's existing and add stuff over it, right?
It allows you to also introduce elements that are not real.
Exactly, but you can position it according to the depth, according to the distance, all of these things, right? So the space gets kind of activated.
You know, psychologically, there was a term for running away from reality, like it's called escapism.
Yeah,
and
that's a lot played in video games.
Yeah, and then I'm like just curious: is this unhealthy? I want to touch upon that too, because escapism as a concept is not a healthy term. It's a term that takes you away from reality. So this having this conversation with you means a lot to me, because kind of I become the orthodox, classical, real definer, and you become. And I'm curious. Can you tell me why is it?
I'm going to come at it from a different lens.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about augmented reality, which has the sense of physicality of the existing world in it, right? Now let's talk about virtual reality. So virtual reality is something where you put your headset on, correct? And you basically disappear into a whole different world.
Yeah.
And this basically allows you where there is no elements of physical reality coming into it. You can control everything. You can make it rain, you can make it snow, you can be upside down, you could walk on a wall, all of that, right? So there are no physics involvement in this virtual reality.
I'm just like, that's freaking me out, because you might have a child next to you, you might have your partner next to you, you might have an aging parent next to you, who in the real world who might want your eardrums, who might want to listen to what you're kind of saying, or you need to pay attention to some things. Is this only for kids?
No.
I know that it's no. I know you're going to say no, but is it?
It's not noise cancelling. It's not teleporting you to this virtual space, right? Like if there's a wall in front of you and you wear the VR and walk ahead, you are going to bump into the wall.
I'm born in 1983, by the way. For my first 20
years.
That's
not too long.
For the first 20 years, I had none of this, and for the next 20 years, I have only this, and I can see where this is going. So
anyway,
people know the basic definitions of AR and VR. I want to ask you as a creator. I want to ask you, why is it important to you? So
I'm going to come back.
To
your answer of escapism, right? The terminology escapism was actually originated when you started playing video games. It came from the gaming industry, right? And I think that is one of the industries I look at in a lot, because it actually has the creation of these virtual worlds, but you can enable it using your PlayStation or your screen or your Nintendo, all of that.
Yeah.
If you actually look at escapism as an idea,
yeah,
it allows you to kind of immerse in this world that has been created. Same thing is possible in virtual reality. To answer your question with whether this is good or bad, I would say anything overdone
is bad.
Is good or bad. But there has been, if you look at the video game industry, it's one of the most booming entertainment industries right now.
So is Kim Kardashian. That's not what just because it's booming.
No, what I'm trying to say is video games also have a lot of health benefits.
Now we're talking about the health benefits of
the idea of mental health.
This is new,
is very much enabled through virtual spaces.
Give me one example.
I mean, just at my studio, IOVR, in the last 1 year, we've created 2 VR experiences, which is catered on wellness, the idea of wellness.
Wow. You want to explain this project?
Yeah, so we had done one for Kosa. Kosa is this brand in Pune that had it's an aesthetic brand, but also promotes wellness.
Pooja's brand, yeah.
So they had done a wellness market. I can show you some photos later where we had kind of created this experience, and we called it the VR bath. So we set up a physical bathtub where you sit inside and you put on the VR headset and this experience plays for about 5 minutes. And we have got all the feedback forms, and it's guaranteed that 99.9% one person was like, oh, there was a little bit of glitch. Experience the idea of wellness.
Nice.
So you're basically putting on the headset.
I'd like that. Yeah.
And teleporting through this experience.
Yeah.
And you feel well after about 5 minutes, right? So what I'm trying to say, this whole idea of escapism holds a lot of control over your thoughts and emotions.
Yes.
Right? And you can design it in a way that it provides to be well for you. Which is why a lot of video games also nowadays have games which are not necessarily about violence, or there's something called as world exploring, right? Where you can just go exploring the world. There's no agenda to the game.
Yeah. It's basically like follow the rabbit.
Yeah. So there's this one of my favorite games that I always tell people to play or try is this game called Everything. It's by this artist called David O'Reilly.
Everything. I'll check it out. Yeah. On iOS, everywhere.
It's on. You can play it on the Mac. You can play it on the PC, wherever. And basically, it's a exploration of the world, right? So how it starts is, I think you start as a deer. Like you go into a forest, you start as a deer. Then you see a rabbit, you can become a rabbit. You see a turtle, you can become a turtle. You see a cockroach, you can become a cockroach. You can go from like the largest animal to the smallest.
And the perspective shifts.
Yes, perspective shifts.
Oh wow!
You can see the grass so big. You can actually become like the algae.
I'll definitely try this,
amoeba, small kind of thing. It can take you to a city and you can become a street lamp.
That's amazing.
You can become friends with the other street lamps.
So every object has its perspective. It's looking.
Yeah. You can become a planet. It goes from all different scales.
Wow, just switching your perspectives.
Correct, right? And there's no agenda to this. It's just an experience.
Yes.
But you are escaping into the world and you are having a change of perspective through this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that is what I mean by laws of physics don't apply.
Sure.
Because you can change your scale.
Yes.
You can change your perspective.
Yeah.
You would not be able to do this in real life, right?
That's true.
So that's what I mean by these extended realities that allow you to experience new things.
Sure. AR and VR is it right to say it's just a tool within the gaming industry?
Correct.
But you can use it for many more
Not within
things.
the gaming industry, because these are like new technologies.
They can be applications also.
Yeah.
I've seen doctors use.
Exactly. So they're used in different industries. I'm just giving the example of a gaming industry so that it's more, entertainment based and people can try it.
I have my question to you is about you provide a service through IOVR.
Yeah.
In this exhibition, Follow the Rabbit, you follow the white rabbit. You are also an artist.
Yeah.
And you have also done something that nobody else in this exhibition has done, which is create something where people require an additional device. Not just, they don't just come as they are, come as you are, as the people say. You have to come with download the app. That there's a layer of there's one layer. You have to pass through one layer, you have to press multiple buttons, and then you go on the other side and you have that experience only if you have those devices.
Correct.
So that restricts that. I mean, even when you were doing this beautiful sculpture you've done in the open, people require to spend some money. It's not an experience that you can have. Do you feel like that's in any way, is this technology restrictive for you, either financially or is inaccessible to certain areas? Or because I was on Sandbox, I played Dirt Rally, for example. It's a game which you have to buy from Feral and now Reliance got it. But basically, some experiences require some insane amounts of money and equipment to be experienced.
Yeah.
So is this that plays on your head, or is there somebody working on through IOVR? Are you problem solving?
There are two ways to look at it. Everything that you create would have a cost for it, right? Hand painter needs paint, supplies, etc. I need my devices, technology.
Sure.
I think also these technologies are also being updated constantly.
And they're being made cheaper also because of mass production.
They're being made cheaper, right?
Do you think the Apple Vision Pro is going to become cheaper? It's $3,000.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's more like you get it first and you see the response, because the feedback is quite important, especially when it comes to these technologies, right? But what I try and do at IOVR is kind of tune into this creator economy kind of culture, where basically these digital tools or these technologies, they enable you to create new stuff.
Yeah.
So how can I use these tools to kind of create new experiences and new products that would not be possible without them, right? So to give you a very simple example, like Instagram is the biggest tool that everyone who's in the creative industry uses currently, right? To kind of showcase their new works or their new projects. Like even Blonde Blotch, the project that's put up here, it started on Instagram as me using Instagram as an online gallery or a white cube space where I could just put these sculptures as being part of the everyday subculture, right? And put them up. So I'm using that as the tool. So similarly at IOVR, that's what we do. We're trying to use the tool or the technology of AR and VR to kind of create new works. Which would not be possible without them. Yeah.
You know, a month ago you were trying to explain to me this concept of the benefits of the creator economy. And actually, again, I told you I'm a little older than you. So, and this medium is really new to me. I have like a 19-year-old who runs this whole platform.
Okay.
And she just gets it. Like I'm like, what? So this creator economy thing is something that, I mean, all I do is I take photographs, maybe color correct them and upload it. I don't go beyond that. But I've seen people really pushing boundaries in terms of, on YouTube, through Sandbox, through NFT projects, through Artistry Plus, we've done multiple NFT gigs and these new currencies that are being coming. New conversations are opening up.
Yeah.
And I had to do a lot of learning. Do you think, can you like talk to the people and kind of like just give them a few resources of what may, like the game you mentioned. It's a great thing. It just got me, I feel like checking it out right now. Do you have any other more such resources where people can just enter your medium, where people still have questions as dumb as mine? As questions are as dumb as mine. They're like, okay, not what is AR VR, but what is, in fact, the name of the show Follow the White Rabbit is because of Neo in the Matrix. The first line in the film is Follow the White Rabbit, where he makes the first phone call. Have you seen The Matrix? No,
I have, but younger. It's like, so I don't remember most
Alice in
of it.
Wonderland and The Matrix both have this iconic literally statement that sings Follow the White Rabbit. Basically follow your curiosity. And then you chase that down. So can you tell the younger...
I mean, I think the whole success or the idea of creator economy is very much rooted in like medium specificity. By that I mean like you have to decide what medium you're curious to use or you would like to start with. And then you kind of have to go into the specifics of it, right? So to give you an example, if a video editor or a video artist creator wants to create a video, normally they would like shoot something, edit it, all of that. But now you can make videos using AI, right? But I would say, to give you a very simple example, if you decide, oh, I want this frame to be like this and this frame to be like that, right now AI is not that advanced that you can tell it that specifically and it can create something.
But it's pretty good. I've been on DALL-E and on...
So that's what I'm saying. You have to let the specificity of the medium, by here I mean the AI, give you the result. And you have to see how you can work around it. Right? So that's what I'm saying. I think you need to learn how to work with the medium that you want to use.
And use it like a medium. And don't let it overpower you.
And also see what it can create. Like the thing with these new technologies is it can kind of push the boundaries in a very unique way, which like a digital painting, the way it's done, a hand painting can't be done the same way. Even the workflow of it, like the step-by-step workflow
the grid,
of it.
Making the grid, making the files,
it doesn't work that way, right? So you have to kind of
it has its
play.
Own it has its own
you have to kind of play with the tool. You want to see how that works for you.
But I have a question. When you make works like these works that come out from, it's almost like making a Google UPI payment.
Yeah.
But then the payment doesn't happen, the sculpture pops out, and it's like, now it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Question is, in making like these works, as an artist, I'm asking you now, how much of the work is you and how much is the technology?
Well, the technology is just enabling it to come out.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No, because it like looks so juicy, and like the colors are something you can't paint. Backlit LED, the red. I've seen children applying red paint on paper versus looking at the backlit red of an iPad display on OLED screen. There's no way you can match that bright, juicy, transparency red compared to a light, a physical pigment.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to do that. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to do that.
Yeah, I'm the old guy. Yeah. I'm trying to.
When I'm making it on the computer,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make it look like the pigment red, right? I'm like, I could use like a steel effect, or I could use like a bubble effect, which could have like this gradient of the reflection or anything.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of put it together as a sculpture, and I'm like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm creating it
Yeah.
at the back end, but I'm not trying to use. I'm not thinking, I should push the sculpture here. You know how I would do it with the finger.
Yeah, with clay or something.
Yeah. So I'm not even thinking about the physical sculpture. I'm thinking about the digital sculpture.
All right. Now I want to ask you about your education in Germany. When you studied what you studied, I want to ask you, did you start off from, was it a vector? Like you knew where you were going to go and you went in that direction?
I mean, I went to an architecture school in Pune, right? And I think like it's the curriculum is similar. It's by the Pune University, right? When I graduated and I also worked a little bit, what I realized is it just didn't feel creative enough. Like the whole reason I went to architecture school was because I was interested in different aspects of design, different aspects of how you can visualize space, all of that.
And you're doing that now?
Yeah. When I graduated, I had no way of... I knew this world existed, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are lots of architects abroad who are doing this. Zaha Hadid, for example. Everyone knows her, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't learn what needed to be learned for me to become someone like Zaha Hadid. And I was like, okay, maybe some work X, does that. But then that didn't happen either. It's like, I'm designing the toilets or drawing the toilets that are going to be in some big fancy building, right? So imagine like being a creative person and you're stuck doing this. So kind of had like a full emotional drop down. And then there were people in my office then who had done masters. And I would find it so weird that they've done masters and they're doing a job the same place where I'm doing a job, right? And I was just be like,
some things.
Yeah, there's something wrong with this world, but like I got to figure it out.
With this real world.
And I decided to go to Europe because as a kid I've been to Europe and I enjoyed it. I liked the culture there, and I was like, I would prefer that than going more to the West, and just have more of an opportunity for myself. So I started looking at schools, and I just had one criteria when I was applying. I should not understand the course.
You should not understand the course?
I should not understand the course, because then that just proves that I'm going to study something I have no clue about.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, because there were lots of courses and lots of really good schools where I went online, I saw their website, and it just seemed that their coursework was an extended version of what I had studied. Or a more in-depth version. And I was like, this is something I don't want to do. Like, I'm sure of that. I don't have anything against architecture, but I don't want to kind of go more in deep of what I already know. So that was my requirement. And obviously I knew some schools were good, some were not good. So that's how I got into...
You're always interested in designing spaces. Making spaces.
Yeah, I'm very much interested in the idea of space.
Can you tell me what is, in terms of technology, what's the top 3 softwares that kids would know what they should have in their laptop?
There is no answer because it keeps updating. It keeps changing.
It's super fast.
Yeah, it keeps changing, and I think
How do you keep in touch? You have to learn all the time then.
Yeah, I mean, I also have a team now,
Yeah.
right? So we also update. There's a lot of training involved. There's a lot of like, we do projects which are so new, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know anybody else who's doing a lot into VR and wellness, or even if they're doing it in a different way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we get stuck a lot of times. You have to like, the hard way, go online, look for it. Then you
Sure.
realize that the application has its limitations.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out your own way. You have to figure out another way to get to it, right?
Sure. And
Even
you,
with
you
the
don't- you said earlier you don't use any Mac products. You use PC because of
no, it's not true. I think
this
so.
software. The software.
Software, there are some which
Aren't
are
you stuck between these wars of PC
I
or
have
competition
both.
war?
I have both. I have a Mac also, and I have a Windows also.
Some software works on this. And
Like for this, the application that I've put on a phone, I have to make for iOS and for Android, right?
Yeah.
And for iOS, you need a Mac to create for a Mac.
Sure.
For the iOS, you need an
But
Android.
the learning curve must be amazing for someone as young as you to constantly try to make a buck.
Yeah,
Also learn,
it
also
takes
run a company as like IOVR.
Yeah.
It's pretty like, and
Yeah.
also deliver on your projects. I mean,
Yeah.
somewhere, how do you? What's your global vision? Like, what's your
mean-
longer ambition as an artist? Are you comfortable? Do you connect with being called an artist, or are you a businesswoman? Are you in the business of art?
I have a lot of roles that I flip into.
Yeah.
Artist, architect, curator, entrepreneur,
Sure.
all of these.
Yeah.
I think right now, because obviously your goals also keep changing
Sure.
in life, is I want to work on growing IOVR, want to do a lot more interesting projects, not just India, but also globally, even though we are based in India.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And got a very nice team. Everyone's got their speciality, right? So then that way everyone takes care of being updated with that part of their technology.
Yeah.
Which allows us to be kind of updated with the current trends, technologies, all of that.
Yes.
As the director, creative director and founder, I have to obviously keep thinking about what more can we do. Not just...
Can you tell me what more can you do?
Like, for example, this whole VR and wellness thing is something that I'm looking into because...
Wellness is the theme for 2030, global theme.
No, I think it just has become a necessity after the pandemic, right? Like,
I've seen some psychotic Japanese VR based games, and I have one friend showed me some VR porn, and I've seen some games, using the Oculus
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I mean, I get a little claustrophobic, and I get a little like
Yeah.
taken aback by it's literally like overwhelmingly a different world. It's like literally like it
yeah,
completely occupies your ears, eyes, and then
Yeah.
when you open your eyes on the other side, my wife got me poha. Like I'm suddenly in Maharashtra again, having hot poha in my hand, and I just got off some like not porn, but like I got off this one game.
Yeah.
And I was like, suddenly the 2 seconds I felt like someone just like sucked me out, like the movie Avatar.
yeah.
Like it's like you're out of a
It's
world.
like teleporting, right?
Yeah, but I feel that transition should be smoother.
Why?
To go from
I think you'll just get used to it after a point.
that sudden burst
Like,
of
maybe people who went online and spent so much time on their phone
yeah. It's the
didn't-
same thing, right?
yeah. Like
They
they
watch the
they
phone
felt
and
like,
yeah.
oh, I'm just feeling like I've spent
Consume.
too much time now.
But the mind is allowed to do one thing at a time. I mean, if you're a guy, if you're a girl, I mean, but the mind can focus on only X amount of parameters.
Yeah.
And so if you do an AR, VR, like for example, in your work, the way to access your work is through a mobile phone.
Yeah.
Then to see it best, you've got to zoom out and you've got to move in the physical world behind. But there are other games. Is that also what you do, or is
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is your forte?
No. Again, these are just tools.
I remember I jumped off the building because of that game that you introduced in Tifa.
Yeah.
That thing, and I flipped out. For me, that was real. Like they were like jump, and I was like no, and because there was that
Correct.
the diving board, and you had to fall from the
Correct.
15th floor. I couldn't do that.
So that is basically being immersed.
That's immersive.
Immersiveness, and that is what I mean. Like with these tools, I am enabled to make immersive experiences,
Sure.
right? And I like to play. I like to play with the space. Let me see what else I can make.
Who's your client? So for the younger people watching, or for the people trying to change their jobs, or get into your world, who's your client?
So if you're doing AR and VR,
like, who's your template? Like, what kind of person comes to you?
We've done everything. We've done art organizations. We've done wellness. What I'm saying is, your client could be anybody.
Yeah.
It's what you're using the tool for.
But
right?
Are you expensive? I mean, not you. I mean, like the medium.
Yeah,
is
of course. This whole technology is expensive.
Yeah.
Also, it's also expensive because a lot of people don't have access to it. Right? How many people own VR headsets?
Yeah. No, but the mobile phone, like Pokemon Go, for example.
Yeah.
Every time I show your work to the people who come, the investors who come to buy the works, and they want to see your work. The reference keeps coming up is Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Because that was active. It was made.
The reason that's a very strong reference is because it reached a larger audience.
Yes. But then nobody started using it anymore. Other than Google Maps has that fox running.
Yeah. So that's like any advertising or marketing stunt. It goes high
Peaks.
and then it drops, right? What I'm trying to say is, you need to have a larger audience willing to play with this or willing to use these technologies, right?
Yes.
Which is where I think we are kind of slowed up right now, because people don't know about it. Firstly, people don't know so much about these technologies. It's so new that people are still learning how to use it for their things.
Yeah.
And then you have to have the audience to kind of enable it, right? Which is why your industries are very varied. They obviously work already in like robotics, automobiles, all of these. These are industries where it's already established.
Yeah.
But I am a very strong believer that these can go into all industries, and also creative industries, which is what I try and do at IOVR, where our work is at the intersection of art, architecture, and technology, right? And what can we do with using all of these three to create new works, which comes back to the creator economy.
That's amazing. Anokhi, it's been amazing speaking to you.
Thank you, Eva.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think I should say? Because there's something that I want to ask you.
No.
And please say it.
All good.
Can you please look into that camera and say like, comment and subscribe to Art History Plus? And then say anything about the show or me.
If you like this podcast, then like, comment, share. Subscribe to Art History Plus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a great conversation.
Thank you.